Everyone has gathered. We are starting the lecture. Who's ready for the lecture? Actually, it was a risk for me to offer you this topic. You see, the hall is less than half full, but I chose it anyway. This topic is so important in a person's life, and I'm sure that later many people will listen to a recording of this lecture. Because we have deeply forgotten who is a senior person, and how can I be or not be one. This topic is key in a person's life. But we don't understand this. You see, people didn't even come to the lecture because they don't understand the importance. First, let's discuss the difference between modern and ancient culture. The main fundamental difference is not in clothing style and not in the number of computers. I don't think this is an important difference. The most important difference is that people have wrong ideas about what relationships in life are. Now people mostly behave like lovers. For example, imagine a man who walks and shows himself as a male. Then a woman walks and shows herself as a female. This kind of behavior now predominates in people's lives. And this behavior doesn't actually give people happiness, because this behavior seduces. It doesn't give refuge, doesn't give a person depth, purity, real and deep love. This behavior just seduces and confuses everyone around. Because when a man sees such behavior in a woman, he thinks, maybe I should leave my wife. When a woman sees such behavior in men, she thinks, maybe I should leave my husband. This behavior doesn't help people, it doesn't bring any benefit. But there is another behavior that brings a lot of benefits, and this behavior is called father, mother, sister, brother, daughter, and son. A person should be in these three categories 90% of their life. Only 10% of the time, when they are alone with loved ones, they can play this game and show playfulness in behavior. They can do it only with their loved ones. In ancient culture, when a woman went outside, she covered her face, dressed very simply, and made sure that no one noticed her. A man never showed his lust for anyone. It was very reprehensible to look at a woman with seductive eyes. Men behaved strictly in the street, in society. They showed strength, bravery, strictness, and courage. This instilled purity and happiness in people's hearts. And when a woman came home, she painted her lips, put on makeup, wore the most beautiful clothes, and appeared this way before her children and husband. And he was very happy about this. He felt love, because this love, this seductive power, was meant only for close people, and it had a very intimate nature. Now women show their seductive power to everyone. They waste it this way, because this energy is unique. It is meant to end all grievances. When a man is attracted by a woman's beauty, he immediately forgives everything. When a woman sees that her husband is happy next to her, she also forgives everything, and that's how people live together. But if a person spends all this energy while walking down the street, then the woman comes home already tired. She has spent it all, and moreover, she puts on simple clothes, wipes off the lipstick, and appears before her husband in a simpler way. As a result, the husband loses attraction to his wife. He doesn't see such depth and happiness in their relationship as he would like to. The formation of self-esteem in people is now disrupted. People are misbehaving. And in some cultures, this misbehavior starts becoming a perversion because men start playing the role of lovers. Men start acting like women. Women act like men. They start working out, doing bodybuilding, showing their strength and boxing. Perversions are already beginning. How long can I show off as a woman? I'm tired of it. I'll act like a man. I'll work out in a gym and pretend to be a man. People are going crazy because they don't know where the way out is, where happiness is. But happiness lies in something completely different. Sometimes I find myself in different social formations. In Eastern countries, for example in India, you can see things that you won't see here. The right things are still preserved there. I found myself in an environment where there were only Indians. There was one woman there who was the elder. She was talking with everyone. She was both older in age and senior in position. When I came to this meeting, she looked at me as an elder would, although we were the same age. She looked at me as an elder, and I immediately became a junior. Why? Because I saw something right and honest towards everyone in that look. She was unwavering in this role, showing strictness, strength in her gaze, responsibility, intelligence, and determination. Immediately I had a question. What's it for? Why? I later understood that people needed this. The Lord always begins to act in that environment. The Lord acts through people in this world, where people behave honestly. Honest behavior is being a father or mother. Honest behavior is being a sister or brother. There were situations in life when I felt very bad. I would end up in the hospital and a woman or a girl would take me by the arm, lay me on the bed and say, "Lie down, we'll take care of you now." She didn't evoke any feeling of lust in me. These are not those kinds of relationships. This is a sister. This is a nurse. She showed her love without lust. She just cared in a feminine way. This immediately created a feeling of complete protection. Pain immediately decreased. You feel protected because there are people who need you in this difficult moment. This is sister-like behavior. Children's behavior is also very valuable. When you listen to my lectures, you look at me as an elder with a loyal gaze. This develops love in my heart. This gaze develops love. It makes me want to love people. Even if I have little love for people, it grows because you accept the role of a junior when you listen. You see what I'm talking about now? I'm saying that relationships between people in society are not developed now. There are only game-like or business-style relationships. Business style is when you walk down the street with a briefcase and showing off, "I'm a business person." Well, that's really cool. Do people around you really need to see your business face? Maybe you could show something else. Life is short. Business people think that they are cool and everyone else should get lost. Who needs this? Who will this help? This is incorrect thinking, but we're used to it. We think that this is how we should live, but we need to live differently. A man in society should be a father, brother, or son. Choose yourself which one you'll be. A woman in society should be a mother, sister, or daughter. Choose yourself. These three types of behavior are valuable in society and create an atmosphere of depth, purity, faith, and love. Imagine that you're walking down the street and people are passing by you. They look at you as a father, as a daughter, as a sister, as a brother, as a mother. All people around will look at you this way. Would you feel warm living in such a society? If in this society you only see those who show off and business people, some put up a wall while others just play games in front of you, would you like to live like that? We live in such an environment now where people either show off or put up walls. This means that people don't care about each other. There are no relationships. Relationships are a very deep thing. They are not cheap. To build them, you need to be a brave person. When I studied at the institute, only one teacher was like a father. I didn't want to listen to anyone else, only him. Then we developed a friendship. He even started behaving like an elder friend with me. He was friends with me, but I understood that he was senior. I was a student. He was the head of the department. We used to go cold water swimming together. A wise person. He allowed himself to be friends with a student. He was never a stranger. I remember his eyes. He always looked very closely. He never showed off like, "I'm the boss here." He never looked provocatively, with contempt, with mockery, or with challenge. That's how elders often do. Now I'm going to teach you higher mathematics. What are you trying to prove to people? What do you want to prove to them? People only need kindness. They don't need your higher mathematics. If you don't give kindness, it means you don't know anything. All other knowledge is of secondary nature. Of course, an elder is an elder. He should be serious and strong. It's a strong, responsible position, but it's kind and close. It's not a position distant from people. A person should always be closer to people. Why did Lenin become a leader? I'm not talking about philosophy or atheism now. I'm talking about the person. He never showed off in front of people. If you look at the chronicles, how he looked, how he behaved, he was very close to people. People believed in him as a result. It's natural. The same with Suvorov. According to chronicles, he was very close to people. Alexander the Great at 20 was a senior, a father to everyone. Can you imagine how strong this fatherly position was, 20 years old, and a father to everyone? These are amazing people. Society lacks love because we don't strive for it. You might say, I lack kindness towards people, to look at a stranger as a brother, or as a father, or as a son. I don't have such strength. What if they don't appreciate it? When you look at someone this way, they can hurt you because there's no protection in this gaze. Lust or showing off is a defense. It is a protective influence. When a person shows off, they're protecting themselves. When people put on a tough appearance, they're also protecting themselves. It's easier to live this way. When you don't protect yourself, people can take it differently and you have to accept it. But this is the right way to live. It's not necessary to be very close to people. When a person has kindness in their heart, they see who they need to distance themselves a bit from and not get into close relationships with. This is the right position. This is also a senior's position, but it indicates punishment. I am lucky in life. I saw many senior people. I saw them in such relationships when they pretended I didn't exist. This doesn't mean they didn't love. They were destroying pride this way and giving me an opportunity to be wise and humble. One senior person approached me and said, "You know, I understand why many people listen to your lectures." I asked, "Why?" He said, "Because you are a very devout person. You came from higher planets, that's why everyone listens to your lectures. You are a very dignified person." Then he looked at me carefully. "Therefore, I want to receive mercy from you. Give me mercy so I can achieve the same." And he is a spiritual teacher. Many people follow him, but he asked me, "Give me your mercy so that people would listen to me too. I came from hell, from hellish planets. I am a sinner, and you are so dignified." He was telling me this and watching very carefully. He was teaching me a lesson. And my throat went dry. At first, I didn't understand where this was going. When I understood, it became difficult for me because he brought out my pride. When it comes out, it's very difficult to deal with it. When you see it, you don't know what to do with it. And who else could have brought it out? Who could have approached and said it like that? No one could. He came up and said it. He did it. It's really great that there are people who can kindly teach you a lesson and do it very humbly. They do it with a smile on their face. Being senior means only one thing: taking responsibility for people. It's important to take responsibility for people because that is what love is. Some women say, "I can't take responsibility, I'm a woman." Loyalty is also responsibility. It means being senior. I know of one case. A man was trying to kick his wife out of the house, but she said, "I'm not going anywhere because I'm your wife." He couldn't throw her out. As a result, he believed that she was loyal to him, and he began to respect her deeply for this. This is responsibility, being a wife. This means having a senior position. Senior position doesn't necessarily mean putting on a smart face. Senior position is a very deep understanding of life. A woman doesn't need to put on a smart face. She can teach her husband like this: "I'm your wife and I'm not going anywhere. God united us." He might show off, but will be powerless because she is right. And you can't do anything against the truth. And it doesn't have to be done with humiliation. "I just won't go, that's all." Responsibility is a firm and right position in life. Or I remember another case. A woman right in front of her husband found another guy and started openly cheating with him. The husband beat him up, but at first he asked for my blessing. I blessed him. He told me then how he met this guy and punched him in the face right in front of his wife. She was scolding him so much afterward on their way home. She said, "You're cruel, you're a monster, what are you doing?" But after that, she stopped seeing that guy and stayed with her husband because she saw love. In her husband's behavior, she saw his love because he was protecting the family from this person. Is that bad?
And he didn't beat her?
Why beat her? You need to beat the man. Why beat a woman? He did the right thing. He didn't beat the woman, he beat the man. Well, not really beat, just punched him in the face. Beat up means cruel, but he just made him lie down and rest. There are different ways to fight. You can cripple someone, or you can just calm them down. He didn't cripple him, just calmed him down. That guy rested, understood everything, figured it all out. Sometimes a person needs to rest to understand things. He beat him up kindly, and he talked about it kindly afterward. This is a senior position. This man was responsible for his family. Being senior also means knowing how to be patient. Let's say the husband started doing nonsense. Something got into his head and he started drinking, stopped working, found another woman. At this moment, your strength is revealed. God is testing your strength in relationships. Of course, if strength is shown from the very beginning, this is impossible to happen. Do you know what an ideally arranged family looks like? There are very kind relationships with each other, and at the same time, very strict inside. As soon as a person steps slightly over the line, this strictness immediately comes out. And they step back because it's scary when there's such strictness. Should a woman be strict with her husband? She should be. Should a man be strict with a woman? He should. In what cases? When the family is being destroyed. In cases of deception, infidelity, betrayal, there should be very great strictness. A person should have strength. If it exists inside a person from the beginning, even the thought won't go in that direction. Being patient with someone is a responsibility. Everyone has their own character. Women do so much nonsense in family life. They look so nice at lectures, but you can't even imagine what they do at home. Women are actually very sincere, and they do everything sincerely too. They sincerely believe they are doing everything right. Such is female nature. A man should understand this. He should learn to be patient with a woman's character, but this is very difficult. A woman should be patient with a man. If a woman is emotionally unstable, a man has many wrong habits in life. He's constantly being carried away, pulled here and there. There's no stability in his behavior. A woman has no stability in her character. Her temperament constantly swings from one extreme to another. But man's behavior is erratic. Now he's drunk, then he's in a fight, then he loses money, then he borrows a large sum. Unexpected things keep happening. That's male nature, and women have to be patient with it too. Every person has flaws. Women have feminine ones, men have masculine ones. Who has more? Everyone has the same amount. Patience is the position of the elder. The elder's position always strengthens the relationships. Who is the woman and the man? They are equal, they have an equal relationship. A woman is not inferior, they have an equal relationship. Equal means that a woman adapts to her husband's character and behaves gently with him. It may seem that she's inferior, but she's not. This is her style of behavior. If something suddenly starts to go wrong, a person has to show the position of an elder, very much so. Even in relationships between countries, one should always try to resolve everything very kindly, very amicably. If someone starts to become impudent, you must show great strictness immediately, because then it may be too late. Is it clear? The position of the elder is very much needed everywhere. You shouldn't hesitate until the very end. Being patient is good, but sometimes you need to be very strong to maintain peace. People often don't understand this. The position of the elder is very much needed everywhere and at all times. It has a great value, and it's lacking in this world now. In the modern world, this position is severely lacking. When someone has gone astray, knowing how to wait is the position of the elder. A person acts as an elder when they wait. Waiting for a husband to stop drinking is the position of the elder. When a woman waits, she changes her husband's heart. Waiting is not a useless occupation. Waiting is work during which another person's heart changes. You're starting to yawn, I understand. We need some music. Give me back the music. Without music, there's melancholy. We parted, but our music remained. We take responsibility for granted. Mother takes care, gets up early. But when we lose something, we begin to understand that this is love. True love is when people sacrifice themselves. This is love, but it's not visible right away. It's not showing off, not about flirting or flaunting. True love manifests in strictness. When a person preserves family in their heart, this is strictness. This is the position of the elder. Either a person doesn't talk to you at all, or they speak very correctly the truth in a way that you don't even realize. They start with love, very kindly saying, "Everyone loves you very much. You're good at giving lectures." How does it all end? You realize that you're simply a proud person. Isn't that great? This is the position of the elder. This is true love. If a friend constantly agrees with you, yes, 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 this isn't friendship, this is subservience. You just spend time together and have fun. Friendship is when a friend is very concerned about what endangers your fate. They are against you taking such a step. A friend says, "I'll never let you divorce." You say, "What do you have to do with this at all?" A friend says, "I won't leave this house if you continue thinking in this direction." Immediately, the tension dissipates. Everyone starts laughing. A friend can easily save a family. This is a true friend. True friendship has a very deep nature. It's deeply tied to strictness. The position of the elder is always very pronounced in friendship. When it comes to relationships with children, it's the opposite. The position of the elder should be absolutely unnoticeable. If you want to raise children, do it in such a way that they don't even guess that you're the elder. At the same time, be the elder, keep the strictness inside. It should only come out in extreme cases. Let's say a child did something, and a father simply distanced himself from the child, though he was always next to them and in their heart. The child says, "Dad, where are you going?" And in response, there's silence. He doesn't want to talk. The child says, "Dad, what's wrong?" Dad says, "Son, you shouldn't do that." The son will then understand for life. If you constantly put on a strict face around them, act tough, it's not hard to guess that you're just showing off. Even a child will figure it out, with your whole look, as if saying, "Do you understand who I am?" Of course I understood. There is nothing to understand. Just an immature person, that's all. You think you're a father? A father first shows patience with the child. This later gives him the grounds to say something. First he praises, and then there are grounds to speak. The elder is the one who is stronger. The elder is not the one who is weaker. People should learn to be stronger in their hearts. This is what love is. Learning to be the elder means to love. Also learning to be the junior means to love. It's also very difficult to be a junior. We need to learn how to love truly. True love is divine faith in a person. In a person there is both the human aspect and the divine aspect. The human aspect in a person torments us. We get very much attached to it, and that's why families are destroyed. At first, a person only sees the divine in another person. That's why they fall in love. They don't see the human aspect. Being in love means seeing the divine. The divine belongs to God. The Lord endows a woman with femininity and beauty, and a man with strength. A man is a person who has flaws, and a woman is a person who has flaws. Female flaws manifest in a feminine way. Male flaws manifest in a masculine way. Learning to see the divine in a person is a manifestation of love. Being fixated on flaws is a manifestation of ignorance, foolishness, and human weakness. This always destroys the family. Pain always fixates us on flaws. We keep thinking about the flaws of our loved one, but we should think about the divine in them. Think about what you saw when you first met this person. This will make it possible to be with this person. We need to talk more about the divine. Now, all media only show flaws. They only talk about flaws. Why not talk about virtues instead? Why not praise and pay more attention to this? This gives real life. When we see virtues, that's when life begins. People need examples of true friendship. True friendship is always about self-sacrifice. It's always about heroic deeds. It's impossible to have true friendship without performing heroic deeds. This heroic deed can be performed in everyday life, or it might happen as a real heroic deed. A true heroic deed will never be heroic if it's not performed in everyday life. Imagine people who show off and pretend and then suddenly give their lives for others. Is that possible? No. Simple people who work for the benefit of others, who give their lives to everyone, who behave kindly, they are the ones who will perform heroic deeds, because love always accumulates in life and then pours out as a heroic deed. It strongly manifests itself exactly when God wants us to do it. This is a test. But this test shows what real life is. Real life is deeply tied to discipline. This discipline should be very deep inside, and it shouldn't be shown on the outside. It should be a person's inner strength. Let's compare the face of a modern person and an ancient one, let's say 200 years ago. At the end of the 1800s, there were photographs of people. Have you seen these photographs? How are they different from us? People looked more stern. That's the main difference. They were more disciplined, which means they had more love in life, more responsibility, more purity, more loyalty, more depth, more patience, more reliability, and more intelligence. Such behavior resulted in heroic deeds. A heroic deed is always valued by God. Whether a person believes in God or not, if they give their life to people, God will always give the best in their next life. When a person sacrifices themselves, this is the right faith. That's what faith is about. When they live for the benefit of people, sacrifice themselves, that's what faith is about. They will understand God deeply over time anyway. The main thing is that they have the right mindset. Some people believe in God but then go and blow themselves up. Why do they blow themselves up? To kill everyone around them. Is this the right faith? If you don't love people, God doesn't need such faith at all. Why would He need such faith? If you sacrifice yourself for a different reason, God will glorify this. This is how a person should live. Life can have different periods, very strict or very easy. Real life always means being present in the moment. If you need to be loyal to your homeland, then you have to do it. If all people become loyal to their homeland, who would dare to raise a hand against such a country? But if everyone starts mumbling, forgive me for interfering in politics. I usually don't want to do this. I recently accidentally listened to a speech by one presidential candidate. Throughout his entire speech, he was mumbling complaints about the president. What kind of person is that? Who would vote for him? Do you understand what I'm talking about now? A good person can do something good. If it's appreciated, good. If not, so be it. That's what we can talk about. If someone is already, spewing filth from their mouth now, then what will happen next? It's very easy to criticize because criticism is weakness. It's very hard to believe because faith is strength. It's very hard to believe in your country, in your government. If people believe in their government, what happens to the government? I'm telling you now what the scriptures say. I didn't make this up. According to the Vedas, what happens to the government when people believe in it? It becomes loyal. If people live purely, the government becomes pure, and so on. The relationship between seniors and juniors is always two-sided. If the junior is good, the senior becomes good. I once prayed, Lord, tell me who gave me so much knowledge. It's funny from the very beginning, but I prayed like that. First I saw the Lord's strictness, and then I received an answer that shocked me greatly. The answer was, the people who listened to you gave you the knowledge. And immediately the pride disappeared. This is how this world works. If we want purity in our country and want to love our homeland, we need to do it right now. What's stopping you? You will see your homeland before you. If you love nature, you will see nature. Where will you see it? Right here in the middle of Moscow. For example, we run in the park. There's a park nearby and we run there. And there's a road 200 meters away, but we don't feel it because we love trees. Such places are everywhere, but people don't see all this. They complain about the city, highway noise, and everything else. Maybe we should see the beauty of birds. You should think more about it. This is what responsibility means. Being in a senior position means being above difficulties. Then they immediately become fewer. To see the divine in everything means to overcome fate. When you see the divine in your wife, there will be no arguments. When you see the divine in your husband, there will be no arguments. When you see the divine in your boss, they will become better. They won't be able to look you in the eyes if they behave worse. I know many examples when people look at someone with pure and bright eyes, and that person immediately starts behaving better. Even when a girl falls in love with a boy, she sees the divine in him. She doesn't want to see anything else in him. She's very young. She doesn't know that men can have flaws. She believes in the divine. She falls in love with someone, and what happens to him? He must and will behave well because he is being looked at this way. And this means that he will become like that later if you don't stop looking at him this way. That's the condition. This is what brings happiness to people on earth. We believe in our homeland. This doesn't mean that people in England shouldn't believe in theirs. That's also good. One doesn't interfere with the other. And it's interesting to know that if everyone believes in their homeland, there will be no war. War means weakness if someone shows weakness. If everyone is strong, there will be no war. There is no war between the strong ones. They negotiate. War happens when someone has become weak, when there's a chance. If there's a chance, war can be started. If there's no chance, why start a war? It's dangerous. Who would walk into danger? Who would walk into fire? No one would. Therefore, understanding what peace is a profound thing. Sometimes the interests of different cultures and traditions can be different. But if people believe very much and behave benevolently in their hearts, then nothing bad will ever happen, even if people are completely different, with completely different interests. So a senior position is very important in this world. There is female responsibility and male responsibility. For example, faithfulness is a female responsibility, not a male one. Don't blame men for being unfaithful. They don't have faithfulness. Faithfulness is female energy. If a woman is very faithful, a man cannot cheat. He can't do anything about it because he needs to step over his wife's faithfulness first. When he tries to do this, she will notice. And at this moment, strictness will come out. She will say, "You're not going anywhere." He will say, "Okay then." He won't be able to because she has done too much for him. One of my relatives wrote to me that her husband kicked her out of the house. They had just started their family life, just began living together, and it is always a difficult period of adjustment in the beginning. As a result, her husband kicked her out of the house. And she writes to me, "I don't know what I should do." I say, "Do nothing." She says, "What do you mean, do nothing?" I say, "Just do nothing, and that's all, because nothing has happened." She says, "What do you mean nothing has happened? I was kicked out of the house." I say, "These are just emotions." She says, "Well, what will he do now?" I say, "He's going to explain why he kicked you out, so he will write that you're guilty of everything, that you're bad. He will write to you now." She says, "How should I respond to this?" I answer, "In no way. These are just emotions." And he started writing to her, but she didn't respond at all. And he writes to her, "What do you want now? What are your intentions?" And she immediately asks me, "What do I want now?" I say, "Now answer him like that. I have no intentions. My husband sent me to live with friends. I'm waiting to see what he will do next. I didn't bring myself here." And then add, "I take marriage seriously and don't consider such things to be serious. Since we got married, we have to put up with each other." He didn't answer her anything on this. Then again he says, "I'm not guilty." She asks, "How should I respond?" I answer, "In no way." She didn't respond in any way. And then he writes, "I won't live with you." She asks, "How should I respond?" "In no way." Then he doesn't write anything. Then he writes, "Come back home immediately." She asks, "Should I return?" I say, "No. You need to write to him. You brought me here, so you should come and take me back." He went and picked her up, and then he told her that she is a very good person. You understand why? Because faithfulness is a female quality. And this is the way she educated him. He thought he was educating her, but it turned out to be the opposite. Because there's no reason to separate just because of emotions. There's no basis for it. They argued, split up, then got back together again. These are all just emotions. You shouldn't take it seriously. Often people take it seriously and then destroy their family. But it's just emotions. When relationships become painful, people start showing emotions. What does it mean to take a senior position here? It means maintaining your internal rules. For example, what is the rule for a man? The rule is that whether you want it or not, you are responsible for the life of your wife and children. You are responsible for their life because you are a man. A woman shows faithfulness. That means she is faithful. This is her responsibility. She doesn't allow either you or herself to step aside. This is faithfulness, and you are responsible for her life. And if a woman hears from you, "We don't have much money. I can't earn more right now because that's not in our fate right now. But I am responsible for your life and will never let anyone hurt you." Wouldn't a woman feel happy even in a situation where there's little money? Why does a woman react negatively to lack of money or lack of comfort? Why does she react to this? Because she feels that the man doesn't care about her. And if he tells her, "Look, I work every day. I'm trying, but I can't earn more. But I take responsibility for your life. I want you to be happy, but these are my capabilities right now." Won't she be happy with such a person? I see you ladies are not supporting me here.
What about if the man doesn't care despite the fact that he is already in the family?
Do you continue to maintain faithfulness? No? Well, okay, we'll discuss this theoretically a bit later. So you see, everyone performs their duties. If there's no faithfulness in the heart, you already don't believe that you need this person. He loses his sense of responsibility.
He never had any responsibility.
Then there was no faithfulness.
There was...
Faithfulness always leads to responsibility. It is a power. It's just that power turns into strength.
It doesn't come.
It comes. It's coming. Everything depends on power. Faithfulness is power. It leads a man to responsibility. A woman's faithfulness is power. It leads a man to responsibility. And our country is also bad. Everything is bad in our country. Bad ecology, artificial products. Like in that song about the water spirit who complains that no one wants to be friends with him except leeches and frogs, and his life is miserable. Nice song, isn't it? Faithfulness leads to responsibility. And faithfulness is strength but not weakness. If a woman doesn't even allow the thought that she needs someone else, she approaches her husband and says, "You must become responsible because I am faithful to you." This strict behavior is a woman's senior position. And he'll say, "I don't owe you anything," and walk away. But inside he'll understand that he won't get away with it so easily. He picked the wrong person to mess with. Faithfulness also means faith. She comes and says, "I believe that you will be responsible." And that's how it is. He will have to become responsible. I told you from the beginning, if you want to believe in the country, there will be a country. Believe in peace, there will be peace. Believe in the government, there will be a good government. If you complain, you'll get the opposite result, but we've already talked about all this now. Next, you just need to try. If we complain, we get the opposite result. If we believe, we get one result. If we complain, another result. Choose.
What if he behaves badly?
Punish him.
How to remain faithful if he behaves badly?
You lack God in your heart, you are in despair now. You need a prayer now. Everything that happens to you is your own property. How he behaves, that's how you behaved before. You need to endure it. You have to be patient. The senior position means patience. If you have prayer, patience, and calmness in the heart, everything will be fine. Life can be different. And now we have a very good life because there is no war. And therefore, if we whine and complain about our fate, we need to look at how things could be different. Maybe everything is not as bad as it seems. If you don't know what to do, then ask what you should do, because right now you're just complaining. And I'm telling you, if you don't know what to do, then ask, don't complain. But first, calm down, because to ask questions, you need to have faith first. And faith is a calm state. It's not a state of tantrum or challenge or inner discontent. Now calm down while I continue the lecture, okay? Agreed? I'll answer your question later. But prepare yourself that the answer won't be what you want to hear. Right now, you're not ready for this. It will help you, but it won't be the way you want. So responsibility is a stabilizing factor in life, in all relationships, in the country, in the family. And responsibility is the senior position. That means it's a woman's responsibility to be very faithful. Faithfulness means that everything will be good with my husband. That's faithfulness. He will get better, he will change, he will be normal. And as a result, he becomes normal. I have one employee in our team. I approached her once and said, "What about your man? When will he start earning? Is he still can't find himself?" She looks at me and says, "He's fine, and he has found himself. Everything is good with us." She tells me this so kindly. I understand that everything is good with them because she developed the right attitude towards him. This is me already answering your question. And indeed, after that, I see he began to develop. He gradually started to develop step by step. Because between us there is life, and a person overcomes their fate by themselves. A woman thinks, "When will he start overcoming my fate?" No, you should overcome it yourself, but in a feminine way. A woman overcomes her fate by faithfulness. It means that you believe that God will give everything to you through this person. Not that, "I'm tired of him. Maybe I should find another man. Maybe he will be better. He's even worse. Dr. Torsunov, please help me find a third one. I want to torment him too." No, my dears, it's not like that. It's not right to live this way. God gave you a person. Take the gold out of the dirt and wash it. A person is a soul. Every person is a soul. They are so beautiful. According to the Vedas, the soul shines like the sun inside, but outside it's dirty because it's ignorant, doesn't know how to do things right, and therefore everything gets covered by this ignorance. There's no purity, there's no understanding. People are like the sun inside, but they don't know themselves or others and therefore suffer. But even being junior to a close person is also a responsible position. What is a woman's responsibility? She maintains order in the house. And at this moment, the man should be a junior. Suppose the wife comes home and says, "Put the shoes here, that thing put there, let's have dinner." And what should the man do? He should just do it. Why? Because it's her area of responsibility. The Lord gave her strength in this direction. She also maintains order. I remember this sketch from a short comedy film. The woman was at work. It was her birthday, and her husband and kids decided to cook for her. Well, they made a lot of pasta. Then it was all over the apartment. It's all exaggerated in that film. She comes home and they say, "Happy birthday." She saw all this mess and just faints. But they tried. Neither men nor children are given this energy of cleanliness, only women have it. And in this area she is senior and everyone should comply. If the wife tells her husband, "Put this here, that goes there," and he says, "Shut up," he is not letting her be senior in this area, then he is a fool. If the man cleans up, that's good, fine.
And if he is a fool, should a woman also say that?
If he's a fool, I can say that. I can say that, not you. If you call him a pig, his oinking will be his answer to you. Because a woman is both a blessing and a cursing force. Do you want to curse your man? You have all the authority. If you say pig, he will immediately oink. If you say, "You are a goat," he will bleat. He will start to act as you say. Are you leading to this now or what?
I mean, when you say that this is women's area of responsibility, what about the men?
Do you have a good husband? He's such a nice person, right? Or not?
Depends on who and what you're talking about.
He is very kind. He tolerates you, whereas I wouldn't have. But he does. He's kind. Every day you behave so negatively and he tolerates you. Have you noticed that or not? You're losing a person. Instead, you should try not to lose him. Young lady, what's your name? You see, we're talking about real things here. The truth is hidden very deep inside. Sometimes it seems that I'm so right, but in reality, it's not so. Why? Because the truth is deeper than despair, anger, and pain. It's deeper than a feeling of injustice. The truth is deeper than all of that. It resides very deep inside. If a person seeks the truth, not justice, then they start to delve into what good the Lord has given them, not the bad. And when a person starts to see the good, it's a blessing. The good begins to grow. A person nurtures a close relationship. You can either nurture or kill your close person. I know such people who have killed everyone around them just with doubts. For instance, if I see only faults in a person, I kill them. Then they're like a corpse in a relationship. Or the opposite. You need strong female firmness in relationships and seeing the good. Take Cinderella, for example. She had the most difficult situation. She lived in a hostile family where the mother and sisters were not her own. If she had been the most beloved, because she was not a relative, it would have been a noble family. But she turned out to be the least loved, and how did she behave? She served everyone, cared for everyone, she did everything to make everyone happy. It's a fairy tale, right? In this fairy tale there is the truth. It shows how to overcome one's fate. And this strength can only be taken from God. They just didn't show that Cinderella also prayed in the mornings. Otherwise, where would she get the strength from? Where does all this optimism come from? So much faith that everything will be all right. And in the end, she married a prince. Why was she given a prince? That means women are given a prince for something. They're also given a non-prince for something. She smiled. Well done. That's good. It means you've understood something. Great. Are you friends? Are you friends over there? Ah, no? You should become friends. There's a lady sitting behind you and you, yes. You need to make friends with her.
Thank you very much for giving me the floor. I would like to ask, God sent me a very good person.
He's a bit depressed, isn't he?
Who?
Your husband.
Husband? Well, without him it would be very boring. He's intelligent. He cares.
Just saying, continue. You need to make friends.
And I feel with him, well, not just with him. Since childhood, I've felt that there's some dirt inside me.
You need to make friends. You will help each other. Look here. Your situation's easier.
I am happy because I have everything for a good life. I am here, listening to you, and I have many good people on my life path. And by the way, all my wishes come true without having to work toward them or work on myself. They simply come true. But why do I still have such feelings inside?
I will explain it to you now. As I already mentioned before, your case is better. That's why you said the result is that everything is great, happiness is all around. Now it will be within you as well. We'll address this issue now.
Sometimes I feel it inside.
In general, every person carries a lot of impurity within, but it's hard to see it because everyone strives for happiness. Every person strongly strives for happiness. Seeing impurity has nothing to do with striving for happiness. However, to see impurity, one must first experience profound happiness. When a person strongly believes in God and has firm faith and inner strength, they start looking deeper into their heart. Within their heart, they first see impurity. The lady is asking me this question because she has already walked this path in her past life. Now she says, Dr. Torsunov, I see a lot of impurity. I've already seen it. Many people don't see it, but she does. Since she is moving toward God, looking inside and progressing further, she will eventually discover her soul, and beyond that, God, who will be even further. Everything can be found within. She has chosen the path of inner life, seeking to understand it all. Seeing impurity is a good thing, but you shouldn't give it too much importance, because you haven't seen it too deeply yet. What lies beyond that impurity is what you truly want to see. There is immense purity beyond, both yours and that of the Supreme Being who gave you this life. This is all in the future. However, since you are already moving toward God, He is giving you everything. He is giving you the best. You are not rebelling. You say, thank you, Lord, I don't need anything more, and my country is the best. Isn't that so?
Yes, absolutely.
Ukraine is the best country. Yes, Ukraine is the best country. And now Russia is also the best country. Of course, my country is the best, and my loved ones are the best. All impurities are inside. This is called the position of knowledge. If my loved ones cause difficulties for me, it's what I deserve. When a person is tuned in this way, God begins to remove all obstacles for them. This person becomes very pleasing to God. But if someone constantly rebels, is dissatisfied with everything and complains, they become displeasing to God. As a result, their life becomes filled with nothing but obstacles. Do you see the difference in perspectives? Living in a way where you're content with everything is extremely difficult. However, the outcome of such a life is extraordinary. Thank you very much. You should understand that the impurity you see is superficial. It does not define your essence. This is what you should strive to understand now. Don't place too much importance on it. It is not what is most important. It is indeed sad to see all this. I agree with you. It is sad. But it is not your essence as a person. The essence of who you are as a person is reflected in everything around you. The best husband, the best children, the best faith. Everything in your life is the best. That's why you say, I am happy. This is your essence. God is showing you your essence this way. The fact that you see your impurities is simply the volume of work ahead. It's what needs to be worked on. It is not your essence. It's not the main thing. You shouldn't give it too much importance. The impurities of your loved ones are not the main thing either. Yes, the impurities in those close to you can bind you and hurt you deeply and make it seem like there's nothing but impurity there. But this is incorrect thinking. There is so much purity in those close to you that you don't see, so much purity that you don't see or recognize. When we start to see this purity and keep blessing them, they develop, grow, and become better, better and better. It's an endless process, but at first it may seem like your efforts are in vain. You may feel like that girl mentioned, that showing strictness or care is all in vain, but in reality, everything is going according to plan. Just try a little harder, make an effort, and you'll see that the ice will start breaking. In fact, there's not much ice left there. That's how I see the situation. Keep trying, of course. Keep trying, work on it. You may have broken down a little bit, sort of. The situation is good. We'll talk with you about it later. What's worse is when a person is proud of themselves. When they don't want to see others, or when they act as seniors out of pride, it's far worse. When they become seniors out of pride rather than love, it's much worse. It destroys everything. This pride is unnecessary. It's not the position of a senior, it's just pride. And it's not needed. It doesn't help anyone. It only interferes. To educate others, you must first accept them. You must first overcome your fate reflected in them, because your fate acts through them. You need to overcome this first, and you have to do it through prayer. Everything will be good in my life. A person should pray and pray. Everything will be good in my life. This is the first stage. Once you believe everything will be good, you start to see glimpses of purity in others. Gradually, you begin to clear away the swamp of fate that God gave you through your close people. First comes calmness through prayer and faith in God. Then comes patience and acceptance of the close person. It's a long, extended path, but it's victorious. It leads to happiness in the end. This kind of path is very powerful. This path is not weak. It's not a long, unhappy journey. No, happiness is present from the very beginning. Once the heart becomes calm and you believe everything will be good for you, that's already happiness. Happiness is always there from the very beginning. Just don't rebel. Whatever God gives you, learn to accept it. Suppose you decide, I won't live with this person. That's fine, no problem. Just pray, calm down, and accept your fate. Just accept it. Whether you'll live together or not doesn't matter. Accept it. Once you've accepted it, you'll become calm. Perhaps now you feel ready to go back and try again. Of course, because you've already taken the first step. Now go and try again. In a different way, you maintain a manageable distance from a close person, a distance you can handle. Never get too close. Don't try to get more happiness from fate than is meant for you. Keep your distance, show your strictness, and help other people. Learn to see purity in them. Share your purity, inner strength, and loyalty to them. Gradually, the ice will melt and happiness will grow in your relationship. This strength is always needed. This strength is essential. Strength always comes from God. One should always strive for victory. One should always strive for victory. This strength comes from God, along with the ability to win and overcome circumstances. Be strict, be strong. Strictness can also be very humble. Humble strictness. This is a strong position of a person who asks the other person to forgive, although they don't feel guilty. Still, they ask for forgiveness. A strong position means love. Empty words and blah, blah, blah is not love. In a marriage, the senior one is the wiser one. But wisdom doesn't require acting superior. Sometimes the wife is wiser, but when the wife is wiser, she behaves humbly. Foolish women always show off in front of their husbands. Wise women always act very modestly outwardly, but are very strictly inwardly. As soon as her husband gets carried away, she immediately stops talking to him. The strongest punishment is loving, but staying aloof. Just not talking. When asked, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Are you okay? Everything's fine. Will you cook for me today? Certainly. Are you in a bad mood? Not at all. Will you ever leave me? Never. Maybe I'm doing something wrong? Maybe. And the silence continues. Eventually, a person will definitely ask for forgiveness because the other deserves happiness. This is correct behavior. One must accept their fate and accept it strongly. One must accept their fate strongly and bravely. When you do this, fate becomes kind to you. Sometimes fate can be very cruel, but you need to accept it strongly and bravely, and then it will be kind to you. Consider history. When we were treacherously attacked in 1941, we accepted it strongly and bravely. It did not matter whether we were good or bad, we accepted it bravely. As a result, fate became kind to us. You must always accept fate strongly and bravely in your personal life without malice. Most importantly, accept it without malice. Malice is evil. A strong woman always behaves calmly with her husband and overcomes fate easily. A man can never leave such a woman. For a woman to be abandoned, she must first become weak, either through humiliation or complaints. She becomes one of the two, and leaving such a person becomes pure pleasure. If a woman handles her fate well, if she behaves correctly and calmly, and doesn't break her commitments, how can she be abandoned? It's impossible to ever leave her. If, theoretically speaking, when a woman behaved this way, a man still left her suddenly, that's really good news. It means God will find for her someone 10 times better. Therefore, she shouldn't even be upset. If she behaved so well and this person didn't notice, he's a complete fool. Let him go. Good riddance. This is the position of a strong person because they know that if they behave correctly, God will never do anything bad to them. This is a strong position, you understand? It means being senior in your life in relation to your fate. In relation to your fate, you should always be senior, never junior. We must work on our fate very responsibly. Fate is expressed in our loved ones, the country where we live, and the nature that God gave us. In St. Petersburg, someone once told me, "Dr. Torsunov, we only have rain here. How can one be healthy here?" I said, "I came to your city and the next day immediately went running in the park. There was a light rain, a breeze, and it felt so good. I missed St. Petersburg. I started running and swimming in the canal there in autumn. Someone said, 'You can't swim there, these canals are dirty.' I replied, 'I didn't feel that. I felt such purity, I felt nature.' I asked, 'And what do you feel?' 'Whatever you feel, that's the kind of health you will have. If you don't accept the nature God gave you, you will never be healthy.' So one needs to pray to accept the character of a close person. This is where happiness begins. Because you can give sunshine only to someone you have accepted. They became close to you despite all their flaws because you accepted them. When someone becomes close, you won't be able to show off in front of them or act cool. You will become either senior, equal, or junior, and love will begin. Giving them sunshine is simple. It's simple when you have the right relationship. You remove your wall, your whims, your discontent. You accept everything, and then life begins. Life means everything is getting better and better each day. Life always gets better. Everything always only gets better. But first, you need to accept everything. That's the whole problem. That's the difficulty. What is the right way to be senior in relation to children? Always at first keep a good distance. A child can be a great danger for a person. When we see a child only as someone sweet who brings us happiness, it becomes very dangerous. This is the essence of all parental mistakes. This sweetness carries fate within itself. We need to figure out what kind of fate it is and learn to accept it. Only after accepting it can you raise this child. If suddenly you see something you don't like and start yelling at this child, think, what right do you have to do so? Did they guarantee you a pure, bright life? No, the child came into your life so you could give them happiness and wisdom. They're small, they don't know what's right. They have their fate, which comes out in loud screams, "I want ice cream." Why? Because there's no intelligence at all. Small children have no intelligence. Just imagine this pure, bright little being. Such a wonderful being. And this being so pure and bright suddenly sees ice cream and screams. Screaming starts unexpectedly. What is this? Where did this come from? Everything was pure and bright. No, it's the wrong thinking. You need to endure your child's character. To endure means to accept the amount of work involved. For example, they might be lazy or prone to lying. It all comes out in childhood. Or maybe they're unfaithful, a traitor, constantly betraying, or lazy, a liar, or angry, always fighting. You see them hitting you with their fists. Wow, what for? For nothing. They're just angry. You need to accept them first. Patience comes first. Don't bring the child too emotionally close to yourself, or you won't be able to endure your child. If you're too attached to them in your heart, you won't be able to endure your child. You'll end up yelling and screaming along with them. That means you'll become a child yourself. They're screaming, and you're screaming. Who's older? The child is screaming while the mother is screaming back at them. Who's older? It's unclear. The elder one should be quiet in such moments. The elder one must accept and endure. If the mother isn't acting as the elder, but as a child, who then will pass intelligence to whom? Where will the child get intelligence if the mother has none, the father has none, and everyone's just screaming? Where will they find intelligence? Nowhere. That's why children grow up foolish. So look, raising children is very simple. Don't indulge in enjoying the child until you've accepted their character. Moreover, the child tells you this themselves. First accept my character and then you can raise me. First accept and show love to the child, then treat them kindly. This is the position of the elder. People don't know how to be elders. An elder is someone who accepts. Let's say you come to me and ask, Dr. Torsunov, help me. If I don't accept you and don't express the position of an elder, is that good? No. You need to accept a person first. Acceptance doesn't mean stroking them the right way. To accept means to accept them as they are. It's nothing terrible, everything is normal. Accept first. Then upbringing follows. Without acceptance, they won't understand anything. Love always comes first. To accept is to love. Patience toward another person is love. Love is not about enjoying a person. For example, a woman once told me, I don't enjoy being with him anymore. Why should I go back to him? But love is not about enjoyment, it's about acceptance. Why doesn't she enjoy him anymore? Because infatuation always fades in every relationship for both people. Once infatuation completely disappears and people haven't yet accepted each other, haven't truly begun giving themselves fully or truly loving, what happens next? They have no reason to live together because the infatuation always ends. The infatuation ended and nothing else began. Why? Because we don't know how to live right. To live right means to accept others. People enter your life to help you fix your fate. You want to be happy, so you must work on fixing your fate faster through close relationships. So here is your task. Work on fixing your fate. When you accept someone, that's when true love begins. It starts with small drops of love which begin flowing. Then comes faithfulness. This is how you move from acceptance to a lifelong commitment. Can you believe that? This is all very serious in reality. If people don't accept each other and the infatuation is gone, they are left with their heavy characters and difficult fates. What happens to them then? They burn out. People burn from each other. They feel so much injustice. The same applies to a child. Initially, you were delighted with the child. They're so good, I love them. But then their flaws begin to surface and you find yourself thinking, I can't take it. What is it that you can't take? You should have accepted them from the start. Then gradually, through acceptance, something remarkable happens. When you've accepted the child, if your child gets an F in school, you don't get angry. Instead, you ask calmly, my little darling, why did you get an F? When they see that you're not angry, they'll open up and explain. The mother has accepted them. Maybe they have a difficulty in life. Maybe they are struggling with lying, laziness, lack of strength, or a tough period of life. Sometimes they simply can't focus on studying right now, and that's okay. It happens, can you imagine? But often we yell at them for getting bad grades without understanding the reason. First, you must accept. Even if your child lies or is lazy, these are just difficulties in their life. The most interesting thing is that you have these same qualities and traits within you too. Be honest. You're the same. That's why God gave you such a child or such a husband. If you lack happiness from nature, human kindness, and God in the temple, you won't be able to accept others. If you expect happiness from your child, spouse, or parents, you won't be able to help anyone. Expecting happiness from others is an incorrect way of thinking. That's not how life works. Don't place your belief in your children. To believe in someone in this way means to expect happiness from them. If you expect happiness from a child, you will never accept their flaws. It's impossible. You will always throw tantrums around them, tormenting them because they don't meet your expectations. You only want happiness from them, and that's it. This is, in general, an incorrect way to live. Happiness from a child is temporary. It comes in the measure that is meant to be. It's not the kind of happiness that lasts forever. This is just temporary happiness. When a child is small, they bring joy. This is temporary happiness. Then they will torment you. The amount of happiness they bring you as children mirrors the amount of torment they will bring you later, typically after the age of 13. However, if you accept everything about them, you will always find happiness in the relationship. When you truly accept another person, you begin to see only God in them. The mother-child relationship has a divine nature. There is divinity in these relationships, meaning infinite love that knows no limits or boundaries. If you embrace divinity in yourself, you will recognize the divine in this relationship between a mother and child. Children see the divine in their mother. It's a divine feeling. Or take your spouse, for example. Seeing purity in your wife is a divine vision. Seeing the strength of your husband and his sense of responsibility, even if he's currently not working, is also divine. It's still divine. Believe in this truth. Believe that this is how he should be. First, accept him as he is, and then recognize that he has these qualities too. After all, God gave you this man, which means these virtues exist in him. If you believe that God didn't bring this person into your life without purpose, you will see how he transforms into what he is meant to be. That's the miracle of human life. Someone might say, I won't go back to him. But why not? It's because you don't know that this miracle exists in him. And he's waiting for you. We need to believe in the present like children do, to believe in happiness, relationships, our country, and God. You tell children, here is our great motherland. You tell this to children hoping they will believe in the motherland, even if you think to yourself, well, I won't believe anymore, but they should. Maybe you could believe too. Maybe it's not so foolish after all. Or consider telling your child, your father is a good man. He has so many good qualities. You tell this to your child, and maybe you'll believe in it yourself. Maybe it's not too late. Often we teach children the right things to believe in, yet we somehow forget to believe in them ourselves. It's important to understand that a child's punishment must be initiated. A parent can only punish a child if they have earned a right to do so. How can you determine if you have this right? It comes from wholeheartedly accepting the child as they are. But if you haven't accepted a child, if your heart is burning inside, if you feel compelled to lash out and tell them the truth about their flaws, then stay silent. You have no right to punish them. You're simply committing an insult. Why stay silent? Because in the future, when the time comes, you'll see that they will return it all to you. Unconsciously, without wanting to, they will return all that anger and impatience you poured out. They will return it to you. Because why should they keep all of this inside themselves? They will give it back to you, so be patient. It's amazing to see when a child misbehaves or does something wrong, and the adult remains patient. You might think, I would never tolerate this, but the parent remains patient with a child. And the parent simply asks, are you hungry? Yes, I am. Well, let's go eat. And the child knows they've done something wrong. They know they did wrong, but for some reason their father hasn't said anything. Later, after they've eaten, the father gently says, son, you know it wasn't right to hurt that girl. First comes nourishment, then education, right? When love is shown first, the child responds with understanding. Yes, Dad, I guess I got carried away. This approach cultivates intelligence in the child. What good does yelling or beating do? Shouting at a child only weakens their intelligence. Physical punishment might ignite a spark of intelligence, but it won't be the right kind. Fear-based motivation is the worst. It stimulates intelligence that's very rigid, inert, and shallow. It's just a flash of intelligence that comes at that time. The person goes, yes, 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 I get it. When children respond out of fear, they often don't even realize if they've understood something. They're just saying it out of fear. However, during such moments, intelligence does flare up. It's best to accept the person. If you've accepted the child, and after you've fed them, given them love, been patient, the child still says, I was right to hit her. That's when you simply stop talking to the child. Just say, okay, son, I understand, and stay silent for 2-3 days. This is where the next level of love begins. It means that either we build honest relationships or none at all. But separating is still not an option. That means if you don't want honest relationships, then we remain silent. The child might say, Dad, Dad, but the father remains silent. Eventually the child says, Dad, I was wrong to hit her. Please talk to me. At that point, the father responds, Son, learn to understand how to live correctly. Maybe you don't realize now that what you did was wrong, but learn to understand this. And the son starts to think, I don't quite understand how it should be. This is because he's still little. His intelligence is just starting to develop. He's only beginning to understand that he doesn't understand everything. He's still little. Intelligence, however, must be activated through love. It cannot be activated in any other way. Intelligence only activates through love. When a child sees that their father or mother is patient and kind with them, they naturally want to take the junior position in their relationship with the parent. Exactly the same principle applies to a wife. It's important for a man that his wife sometimes takes the junior position. Why? Because women, being emotional, often don't understand what's right. They get carried away. Women often get carried away in emotions. The man wants her to be obedient, but he does not have the right to demand it because this right must be voluntarily given by her if a man has already accepted his wife's character, if he has already allowed her to be foolish. Then she comes to him and asks, "Listen, for some reason I can't wake up early. We need to work on this somehow." She voluntarily accepts the junior position in relation to her husband. At this point, the husband shouldn't say, "Well, finally you understood. I've been waiting so long for this." No. Instead, he should say, "You're a woman and all women are naturally very lazy. That's why it's difficult for a woman to get up early. That's just how it is." And she'll respond, "Yes, that's true. So what should we do?" He can then say, "It's okay, we'll work on this. Little by little, we'll start waking up earlier." She will say, "Thank you." And soon she'll start waking up earlier on her own. Simply through these words, strength will flow to her. She'll receive this strength. She will start getting up earlier as a result. That's how change happens. This is the right attitude towards a woman. Or let's say the man is messy. His wife cleans up and says kindly, "Please put this here and that there. You forgot again. One sock is there, another here. Can you please keep everything in its place?" She says this patiently, kindly. Then one day she takes him by the hand and says, "Come with me." She brings him to his sock and says, "Please take this sock, pick it up." He does. "Now put it in its place." He does, that's all. And slowly he will start to understand. Why? Because this is how education works. First comes love, acceptance of a person, patience, and then education. Educating a person is not difficult. The path to a person's heart is close, but first you need to accept a person, which is hard because your fate is tied to them. Why are things so difficult with them? Because God is showing you your past self through them. Our fate weaves opposites into our life. For example, a person committed wrongs in this life. In their next life, they will experience what it feels like to suffer from those same actions. This is why female and male births keep alternating. If a woman suffers from a man in one life, he may be born as a woman in the next life who suffers from her husband. The suffering will be exactly the same, teaching one not to act as they did. The only way to truly understand what shouldn't be done is to experience it yourself. This is life's way of sobering us. Leo Tolstoy said, "If you want to understand whether you should do something or not, just sit down and think. Imagine yourself in the place of those affected by your actions and think, would you feel good in that place or not? And after that, do it. Or don't do it if you realize it's not good." It's easy to say this now, but when you're yelling at your child in front of you, it's much harder to follow this advice. Put yourself in this situation. I remember how painful it was as a child to hear my parents yell at me. I wanted to leave. I even left home once. I was 3 years old. I got dressed. We lived in the Urals. It was cold outside, about 45 degrees below zero, but I went outside. When my mother ran out after me and asked, "Son, where are you going?" I looked at her. I looked into her eyes, saw her love, and said, "I just went out for a walk." I didn't tell her I wanted to leave home because of injustice. What was the injustice? They didn't do anything bad to me. I just saw that my character wasn't accepted. Strictness without acceptance is always deeply painful for a child. They may even want to leave home, not knowing where they are going. And what is injustice? It's when the child feels they aren't understood. For a very small child, this is even more bewildering. They really wonder, why don't these big people understand me? To them, adults should be reasonable by default. They are big, and I believe in them. A child can't believe in anything else. A child doesn't yet believe in God, conscience, truth, or the justice of this world. They can only believe in their parents. So when their parents don't understand them and act cruelly, how can they accept it? For the child, it feels impossible. That's why learning to accept is so important. The same applies to a wife. Consider a woman who says, "Dr. Torsunov, imagine this, my husband says, I'm leaving you." She continues, "I've lived my life with him. I have children from him. I believed in him. And now he says, I'm leaving you." It feels impossible to accept this. This is why an adult must understand that one's ultimate faith should only be in God. Close people will always embody our fate. If the time comes for a close person to leave me because it's destined by my fate, they will leave. You might ask, does this mean astrology determines everything? No. They will try to leave. But whether they actually leave or not depends on you. If you accept your fate, behave with dignity, and take a strong, principled stance, not a weak one, they won't be able to leave. And if they still leave, God will give you something even better. Therefore, you never lose in this situation when you rely on God. This is what being an elder, a senior, implies. True maturity in an elder means not fully trusting your spouse, children, or even parents, but relying only on God. Parents may say, "Don't go to the temple." The child respects the parents, but also recognizes they might be wrong because they are human. This is a firm stance. Does the child love their parents? Yes. Respects them? Yes. Values them? Yes. But the child doesn't accept their misguided advice. For instance, if a father says, "Let's have a drink," the child responds, "No." Is this a stance of an elder or a subordinate, or whose stance is this? You can be a senior even when dealing with elders, but you should respect them. You simply say, "I won't do that, that's all." This is a mature approach of a senior to other seniors. You can take such a stance. Elders may push you toward sin. For example, parents say, "Leave your wife, she's of a different faith." Or a priest tells you, "Leave your wife, she's of a different faith. Give her an ultimatum." I've heard such advice. Give ultimatums to your wife. If she doesn't accept your faith, divorce her. I've heard such advice from priests. I've heard such advice being given in different spiritual traditions. I'm not speaking about a particular one right now. What does this mean? It means they don't understand God's will in this matter. And God's will is peace, love, and respect for all faiths. This is God's will in this matter. I once heard a song that embodies this message. I've already played it for you, and it moved me deeply. This song touches on this very theme, the right attitude towards the faith of a loved one who follows a different religion. There are words there. "I love you for God's sake." This is the correct position. I don't need to change my faith. I say Allah is in our hearts. You may approach it differently, but I agree and I respect, because God exists there and here. Both are correct. Both are valid. This is the right approach to life. The song says, "Praise Allah that you are mine. I love only Allah, and I love you too. I love you too, but for His sake." This means that I will never act against His will. I will always act in this love, guided by what He wants and doing what is right. This is the essence of righteous living. It's a mature stance. A truly mature position of an elder is to understand who is supreme in this world and to follow His laws in life, not the rules we create for ourselves. To live by His laws. This is the stance of an elder. Everything else is secondary. There's also a mature approach of an elder in relationships with employees. With children, the principle is clear, right? The child will naturally recognize you as a senior figure, seek your advice, and listen to you if you prove you're senior to them. This requires proving it for a long time and being patient, but once you prove it, they will always listen to you and consult with you throughout their lives, even as adults. When someone becomes a true senior in another's life, that role is everlasting. It never fades. When a person becomes senior, they will never be junior and will never be equal. They will always be senior if they became senior in a way that you accepted them yourself, if they became senior by God's will. But if they imposed their seniority on you, they will never be senior. I remember one teacher at school who constantly told me, "When you grow up, you'll understand me, but now you don't understand me." I grew up and still don't understand. Because she imposed her seniority. She didn't behave like a senior, but there were other teachers whom I understand and will understand all my life. And they will always remain senior. This image will always be present in my life. This is how strongly it gets imprinted in memory. I got my first 2 F grades, even D grades, on one page, 1 F grade, another D grade, on one sheet. And I think, great, just tear it out once and that's it. And I went around the school looking for a place where I could tear out the page. I walked and saw, here's the perfect spot. Nobody around at all, perfect. And it happened to be right in front of my classroom window. The Lord led me there. And as I'm tearing it out, there's a knock on the window. The teacher says, "Come here." She had very kind eyes, really. She was looking at me kindly. I loved her so much. When she gave me a D grade, I thought, I don't love her anymore. Then I learned everything for the next day. She glued the page back in, numbered the pages, and sent me home. Well, then she gave me a B, and I loved her again. Then I started thinking, something strange about my love. I was still little and thought, my love is strange. D grade, I don't love. B grade, I love. And I started thinking about this. I love in a strange way. If I love, I should love. If I don't love, I don't love. Such thoughts were already coming to me at that young age. Friendship, the position of being senior, it's the same thing. A friend won't abandon you in trouble, won't ask for too much. If they're constantly asking for something, and when you're in trouble, suddenly they're gone, then that's not a friend. You need to test it. If it's friendship, go hiking in the mountains with them, go somewhere, start doing something together. Watch how it goes further. In difficult times, a true friend never abandons you, they stay by your side. But a weekend friend, when you travel together for leisure, they always scatter. When something's wrong with you, they're immediately gone. Because you used to have fun together, now there's no fun, now you're suffering, but they want to have fun around you. That's it, goodbye. But real friends, on the contrary, come to you when things are tough. They say, well, how can I help you? And real friends aren't just about good compatibility. Real friends mean the person is good. Only a developed person can be a true friend. Only a developed person can be a true friend. That's why there are so few true friends, because everyone is underdeveloped. And in a religious environment, the more religious a person becomes, the more true friendship there is. Because there are different relationships there, more sublime feelings.
What about the position of a boss and their subordinates?
It's very important to understand that a boss is a senior. A boss must learn to be senior. Even if this person is very young, it doesn't matter. But being senior means that you allow people to make mistakes. They might snap at a junior and, let's say, get angry, but they can't make mistakes. A boss takes responsibility upon themselves, and a junior can make mistakes, but they shouldn't get angry at the senior, because that's wrong. You're junior, so behave modestly. You can make mistakes. Juniors make mistakes, but they shouldn't get angry. In business relationships, it's very important to understand that business relationships are not close relationships, but they have a reflection of close relationships. For example, a boss should never get too close to their subordinates. Let's say you have a subordinate. If you start being friends with them, they will start exploiting you because there's a lot of self-interest in business relationships. It will suffocate them. Let's say you have 100 subordinates, you get close to one of them, all the others will try to solve their issues with you through this person. This means they will exhaust both him and you. Therefore, don't get close to anyone, keep everyone at a distance, because you're senior. And these self-interested relationships, business means self-interested, they have no depth. But if you, despite being in self-interested relationships with people, show glimpses of love like a father, behave like a father, let's say the business relationship has ended, well, a subordinate became seriously ill, and you simply visit them at home. That's it, the business relationship is over. A person became seriously ill. You just come to their home unexpectedly, they didn't know about it. You come and say, look, this is between us, here's money, here's a good doctor, he's my friend. I'm calling him now and telling him, you get treatment and I'll pay for you. Nobody should know about this because then everyone will want the same. Is it clear? And that's it. This person will never betray you. And if they try, you'll call them and tell them, you know, I can always do a lot for you in life, but you need to come back. What you're doing now, you need to stop it. And I won't wait long, but I will wait. And they will return. They will come to their senses and return. Close relationships exist even in business, but they have a hidden nature. You don't show it openly, but you're always ready to help, and you must organize celebrations. You need to gather with the whole team. At this time, you're a father, meaning relationships change. During the celebration, you're the father, they're the children. They all get along with each other. You smile, happy to see everyone. If they flatter you, you say, no need, no need.
Can there be employees without a senior?
Employees without a senior? There are different types of relationships. There are people who are leaders by nature. They create society, and there must be a senior there. And there are people who are businessmen by nature. They create temporary relationships. They say, we earned together then, we parted ways. Or, while there's money, while there's opportunity, we earn. When there isn't money, there are no relationships, meaning we have no obligations. Such relationships also exist, but they are temporary. And there can't be seniors there. People are all equal. Everyone just has their own roles, you understand? This can also exist. But there's a problem in these relationships. When discord starts in these relationships, it can't be fixed anymore because only a senior can fix everything. When there's discord and there's a senior, people come to them, and their senior fixes everything. But if there's no senior, you can't fix it. Everything just falls apart.
Can it be that now a company is expanding? There's teamwork. The company has its own ideology, its own values. The team works, and an overseer visits them periodically.
Yes, this is exactly what relationships are. This means developed relationships with a senior. If people are reasonable, they are self-motivated to work, everything is normal, they work by themselves, and the supervisor just oversees them, it doesn't mean there's no senior. There is a senior who just doesn't act like a supervisor, just comes periodically and observes. If something's wrong, they warn, "Sorry, I can fire you, you're behaving incorrectly."
Should the overseer be given this function? To be able to fire people?
What else can be done? Otherwise, imagine, if you can't fire them, then what can happen? Imagine one person becomes impudent, they will poison the whole company later. If one becomes impudent, everyone else will want to do the same. Being a senior is a revelation. A person may hold a leadership position but not behave like a true senior. They yell at everyone, get angry, punish harshly. Why? Because they are afraid of people, they don't trust them, they cannot tolerate them, and they don't accept them. They don't understand people. This means they are not a true senior, even though they hold a senior position. Now let's look at a second example. A person works as a subordinate. Everyone at work consults them. This person tolerates and respects everyone. The manager calls them in and they say, "Yes, Mr. Johnson, I'll do everything as you've instructed." They behave as a junior, even humbly, but they are never humiliated anywhere. If the boss insults this person, the entire workplace would be disrupted and no one would work properly. Why? Because no one has the right to insult a senior. It is God who makes someone a true senior. For instance, if the manager becomes angry and says, "I'll fire everyone," this person goes to them and says, "Listen, forgive us, we acted wrongly." And the manager responds, "For your sake, I'll forgive everyone." For your sake. Why? Because this person is a guarantor. They can be relied upon. They are trustworthy. There are diplomats like this, who save entire nations from war. They come and give assurance saying, "Please forgive us. We didn't mean it. Things just turned out this way." And everyone relaxes. This is the true position of a senior leader. It's incredibly valuable. It brings so much strength to all relationships, even saving from war. Can you imagine? Once my wife and I had a quarrel and we went to a senior. I told him that I was 100% right. After all, I give lectures, so I know everything. He listened to me and then said to my wife, "Now you tell your side of the story." She shared her side, explaining that she also understood everything correctly. I kept observing him and thinking, surely he won't acknowledge her position as correct. After all, it's obvious that I'm right. It's so obvious. He listened to both of us attentively, looked at us, and then said, "Now let's go eat." I thought, what about the answer? I didn't say it out loud, but I kept wondering, what about the answer? He said, "Now let's go eat. We've been waiting for you. Thank you for coming." So they fed us. While I was eating, I kept thinking, when is he going to tell us who's right? But he didn't say anything. Instead, he said, "Thank you. Well, that's it." And I thought, that's it? I didn't say anything. We left afterward, and we felt so much warmth and love. As we walked, I began to think, what does it even matter? Who's right? And then I said, you were actually right. Everything you said was correct. What I said was wrong, even though deep down I didn't really believe that. I just said it because of that feeling of love the senior had passed on to me. And unexpectedly she said, "No, actually you were right." In that moment, my first reaction was, finally. But then, in the next moment, I understood her truth. I thought, she couldn't have been so certain unless her truth was real. And I realized her truth. I saw it. That realization was a revelation for me. The senior didn't say anything. He simply gave us love, and even that was enough. He welcomed us with great respect. He fed us regardless of the foolish things we had said, and then sent us off with love. In that moment, all the wisdom came into our hearts. I understood her truth, and she understood mine. That was the end of it. This is the correct understanding of what it means to be a senior. A senior never sees truth as the most important thing in life. Instead, they always see the person as the most important. Because there are three categories of people. There are indifferent people. Those are the foolish ones. There are those who believe principles are more important than people. That's most of us. And then there are the seniors, those who believe that people are more important than principles. And those who believe people are more important than principles overcome fate. This is how a person becomes exactly as they need to be. Your questions on this topic? Yes, excuse me, I'll make an announcement first. The most important announcement. I rarely ask anything from you, but now I want to ask you for something. Please support this project because it's incredibly important to me. I'm simply not sure how much more I'll be able to travel. If I can, I will continue to visit. But recently certain things have begun happening, and I've started to see the limits of my health. I won't go into detail, but my body has begun struggling with the travel. So just in case, we've started this project where I will give lectures remotely. We'll try it now. I'll deliver lectures to you just as I do here. We'll meet remotely. I'll answer questions for an hour at the beginning, then give a 2.5-hour lecture, and afterward answer more questions again. Afterward, we'll be wishing happiness to everyone, covering many cities at once. In Moscow, 3 venues will be set up. You'll go to the location most convenient for you to attend and listen to the lecture remotely. This format will also be less expensive than attending in-person lectures. Please, I ask you to participate in this project because launching it will be quite difficult. Eventually, everyone will realize how great it is. It offers certain advantages. For instance, we can cover very niche topics in this format. It's hard to gather enough people in one city, like Moscow or elsewhere, for a specialized subject. Take today's topic, the senior. Was this topic important for you?
Yes.
You understand? But only half the hall came. In an online format, however, we could gather participants from everywhere. As the saying goes, every little bit helps. We could always gather enough people. But first, this project needs to be launched. In this format, we'll discuss highly specific topics: prayer techniques, health issues, infertility, and so on. We'll cover narrow and specialized subjects. There will also be a sense of closer connection. Imagine dedicating a whole hour to answering questions on a single subject. Because of the broader auditorium from multiple cities, we'll have a rule: questions must only be on the specified topic. By discussing the topic in depth and addressing your questions, you'll gain practical insights and understanding. This is the format we've envisioned. We have plenty of different opportunities available. Right now in Moscow, they're organizing 3 small separate venues. You could even host these lectures at home. If you gather a group of 15 friends or acquaintances, simply notify us about it. Then set up a screen on your computer at home, and the lecture will stream directly to your house. You won't even need to leave your house. This option is also available.
Can individuals connect directly?
No, that's not possible. We can only accommodate 40 windows in the program, 40 windows with groups of 15 people each, or a single large window for another computer. In St. Petersburg, for instance, they've done it this way. They gather many people in one hall, but I allocate a single display for them. I have 2 displays, one small and one large. I can't set up a system where 600 people appear in small windows. That's technically impossible. Just imagine how that would look. The point is, I need to be able to see you. That's why we've organized groups of 15 people per computer, so I can see everyone clearly. If it's a large gathering like in Moscow, we'll use one main display. But for smaller cities with fewer participants, there will be groups of 15. Each group will have 15 people, and each group will sit in front of one display. Each group will gather around one computer, and I'll be able to see everyone in their smaller windows. Or in cities like Moscow or St. Petersburg, there will be larger gatherings displayed on a big screen. That way, I can still see everyone. You understand? We've thought this through. This format is very important and necessary. The schedule will be divided by time zones, so even cities I've never visited can participate. For them, this is truly a gift. Visit the website torsunov.ru and you'll see this: nature, grazing cows, mountains, and in the middle of that scene, a flower bed with the name Dr. Torsunov. Previously, this flower bed wasn't active, but now you can click on it. It says Online Project. This is our most central and significant project. You can register right here. You'll see a table outside with all the information. On the flower bed, you'll also find details about upcoming seminars and their schedules. For the Moscow time zone, sessions start at 6 p.m. with an hour of questions and answers, followed by a 3-hour lecture until 10 p.m. 3 days have been allocated for the Moscow time zone, each covering a different topic. Join us. We're talking about relationships, senior and junior roles. Let's discuss it.
What should I do if my 4-year-old child is very lazy?
A child who is 4 years old, lazy? At that age, just give them love. Until they turn 5, your job is simply to give them love. Until their reasoning begins to awaken, just give and give. For example, imagine when you first start attending lectures. The first year or 2, you just listen and listen. You don't do anything. You're simply absorbing the information. Is anyone demanding anything from you? No, so just keep listening. If there's any developmental issue with a child, it's often due to a lack of movement in fresh air. Remember this rule. If something hasn't developed or matured, then take the child out into nature. Start walking, running, and moving consistently. Do it for an hour and a half non-stop. During that time, everything inside will begin to activate, align, and develop. Surgery is often just an admission of helplessness. The body is capable of development on its own. It just needs movement in nature and fresh air. This advice applies to all of you. If you're struggling with health issues, it means you're simply lacking the energy of nature. Please listen to my lectures on this topic carefully. Apply the advice, and you'll see the results. How many of you have started doing this and have become healthier? Raise your hands. Not many. And what are the rest of you doing? Slowly dying? And who started doing this but didn't see improvements? If you still feel tension inside, you need to be patient. Keep moving. Over time, when your movement reaches over an hour, you'll relax and things will improve. You just need to wait a bit. This is related to the topic, right?
Thank you. My husband and I have been married for 6 years, and I've always seen him as a teacher. He's very wise.
It's very dangerous to treat someone like that.
I now understand this, and it's become impossible for us to be together.
That's because of incorrect behavior. A husband is an equal, not a senior. He only becomes a leader when the time calls for it. For example, if things are really hard for you, you can ask for advice, but if you always consider him a superior, he will inevitably become arrogant and turn into a monster. It doesn't matter how good a person is.
It became impossible to live together, and now we live separately.
Then become the senior one. Be strong in the relationship, and you'll start living together again. He will accept your strength and begin to respect you. See how important firmness is in life. The lack of it can destroy a family. Never trust a person excessively. Love and firmness should coexist. Acceptance and firmness, trust and firmness. You, sir.
Hello. When a relationship has already been destroyed, how can one determine who should be the senior? How do you figure that out? And in general, can anyone really be a senior in a relationship? Should it be the man or the woman? How can this be determined correctly?
A senior is someone who accepts fate. It's not about being strict or harsh or forcing someone to do something, no. A senior is someone who accepts fate. For example, if your wife leaves, you process that. Ultimately, the senior one must always be oneself. When difficulties arise, everyone must strive to become the senior. If war begins in a country, everyone must become seniors, taking responsibility for the fate of their homeland. No one should stand aside. If a wife leaves, the husband must become the senior. Whoever can take on that role should do so. What does this mean? It means accepting the other person, then forgiving them, calming down, maintaining goodwill, and establishing contact. Strengthen this connection, nurture it. If everything is already destroyed and there's a new family, in that case, forgive and help if there are children involved. Or forgive and have no relationship if there are no children, maintain distance. Look, if a woman is making mistakes, the only thing you should do is endure it and treat her kindly. You must give a woman the opportunity to make mistakes, and she will immediately begin to understand that she is making a mistake. You endure her and give her these opportunities. Endure and kindly offer those opportunities. She will instantly realize she's making mistakes because a woman's conscience is very close to her heart. The most important thing for her is to feel love. Love means acceptance and kindness. Then she immediately understands that she's wrong. Immediately, in a second. But accepting a woman is very difficult because her emotions are strong. It's like a storm. If you accept that storm and allow her to make mistakes, she will immediately realize she's making mistakes. She may not show it, but she understands it. That means she comes to her senses and starts moving in the right direction. This is the position of someone senior. When you've accepted her and allowed her to make mistakes, you gain authority, and many opportunities open up. For example, if she sees that you've accepted her and treat her kindly, she will come closer to you, even if she left you. She will begin to trust you, call you, talk to you, and you can even joke with her. You can say in a joking manner something like, "Well, it's okay that you acted that way. It happens." And she will understand that it wasn't good, but it's framed as a joke. When you've accepted a person, you can even discipline them, but very gently. In close relationships, discipline should be almost imperceptible. Between a husband and wife, there is so much pain. Therefore, disciplining a close person in this case must be done very delicately, so delicately that they don't even realize it. And then changes happen quickly. Your question, young lady. Yes.
Thank you very much. I have this question. My husband and I live together. I'm difficult, and he's a good person. He decided he needs to take a break.
Well, that makes sense. How long can someone endure being around someone difficult? It tires a person out.
I understand. I'm trying to do something about it, but I don't know how to act in this situation. I'm staying at home, and we have 4 children. I get very angry, but I can't accept this. Should I be strict in this situation?
Strictness means accepting your fate. You need prayer and calmness, and that's the first stage. The second stage is establishing contact. Right now, he's deeply hurt by you in his heart, but he can't leave you completely because he's very loyal. He's hurt, and he just wants to live separately for a while. He's upset, tired of you. You need to pray to calm yourself. After that, establish contact. Where does your tantrum come from? From non-acceptance. You can't accept your fate through him. Accept it now, during prayer. What have you lost? He hasn't left you. Everything is fine. Pray and accept him. And when you accept him, he will begin to change. That's the next stage of overcoming fate. First comes acceptance, then he begins to improve. But you want to solve everything externally. Grab him by the scruff of the neck and bring him back home, right? That doesn't work. He had 2 options. Either leave completely or leave temporarily. He chose the correct option. The Vedas describe this as the right course of action. If you can't live with a loved one, live separately, but don't abandon them. That's righteous behavior. He chose righteous behavior, so there's nothing to blame him for. Just pray for him to calm down and then accept him. He will begin to accept you as well, and gradually everything will fall into place. First, calm yourself through prayer. Acceptance comes second, after calming down. Then comes dialogue, and your relationship will begin to develop.
Could it all be in vain if he finds another woman?
No, not in vain. Of course not in vain. You mustn't let anyone take your man from you. Use the power of inner strength. Strength means loyalty. You should call him and say, it's okay, go ahead, everything's fine. But you need to know, I am your wife. No one else will give you 4 children. Got it? Say it kindly and calmly.
I can't.
You can't? That's your problem. You understand? You just need to identify the problem and resolve it. If you truly don't want him to leave you, he never will. Not wanting that means having strong faithfulness as a woman. Strong faithfulness makes him unarmed. He can't do anything. I've been saying this in my lectures all along. Strong faithfulness comes from God. Become strong. A person must become strong in this life, and then everything else follows. All right, my dears. Everyone sit up straight. Listen carefully to the sound. Through listening to those who pray, strength comes into a person's life. Strength for patience, acceptance, kindness, a sense of responsibility, and so on. Listen deeply and repeat after them. Immerse yourself in this atmosphere of faith and sound. Forget yourself and work with your heart. I wish everyone happiness. I wish everyone happiness. I wish everyone happiness. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.